How's it going, guys? My name is Luis, and the Nintendo Switch is about 4 months old at this point. The library of games for it is starting to slowly grow, and so I wanted to make this video of must-have games, at least in my opinion, that I think you should pick up if you already own the Switch and are looking to pick up some new games, or you just bought one and you want to pick up your first few titles. So, at least for the first 4 months, here are my recommendations if you just bought a Nintendo Switch. Puyo Puyo Tetris is a game I think a lot of people will be quick to judge as an overpriced puzzle game, but dang is it just one of my most played games on the Nintendo Switch at the moment. It's an awesome combination of Puyo Puyo, which if you don't know what that is, if you've played Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine before, it's pretty much that, and Tetris, which is pretty much Tetris. The game combines both of these puzzle mechanics into a versus mode or even a combination of both of them at the exact same time. There's a dedicated online mode too for anyone that wants to casually just play online, or a competitive mode for anyone that wants to play with other competitors in their ranked equivalent. For those of you looking for a story mode, there actually is one. It's not going to win any writing awards anytime soon, but it's somewhat punny and cute. This is definitely a great game whether you're playing it alone, with friends, or at a party. It's a ton of fun. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. What can one say about this game that hasn't already been said? Pretty much nothing. It's a vast open world Legend of Zelda game unlike any other that is honestly one of the most inviting games in the series. Those familiar with the series will love the lore and the new views of the familiar characters and gameplay in this entry, while those new to the series will get the best, if not one of the best entries in the series that you'll get completely immersed in. To keep it short, this game is probably the best game on the system right now. It is simply a must-buy. Minecraft is another game that doesn't need an introduction. It's a game all about creating or surviving depending on the game mode you're playing, but assuming most of you know what Minecraft is, this one is one of the better ports to console, as it's a bit better than the last generation console version while it's still providing HD graphics and portability. Plus, it'll have all the Nintendo specific content from the Wii U version while providing crossplay in the future with Xbox, Windows in general, and mobile phones. Snipperclips is a very fun co-op puzzle game that's on the eShop that is preferred to play with a friend, but if you want, you can play it alone too. You play as a pair of paper crafts trying to cut themselves into shapes to either solve a puzzle or mimic a figure. There's a total of 3 worlds with 15 stages, each with their own theme. It's a very fun and cute game, and one I would recommend you try to play with a friend, sibling, or just a family member. SnakePass is a physics-based, retro-themed platformer that takes a lot of inspiration from 3D platformers of the past like Banjo-Kazooie and Conker's Bad Fur Day. You play as a snake named Noodle along with their hummingbird friend named Doodle. Both are trying to collect these collectibles in a given stage to progress onto the next gated level. The controls are some of the most unique in a video game that has you truly play and feel like a snake. Coil around objects, slither over obstacles as you build up momentum to move along across the stage. Kamiko is a 16-bit action game that has you fighting monsters and opening puzzles in the forms of gates that ultimately lead up to boss fights. For those familiar and fond of games like Hyper Light Drifter, I'm sure you'll come to love Kamiko for its similar gameplay. It's a rather short game, but one that's very friendly to people who love to speedrun, and you can even play as multiple characters that have different abilities that eventually just add on to the replayability of the game. Mighty Gunvolt Burst is the Mega Man 11 game you've always wanted, and you actually kinda got with this game. Play as Gunvolt or Beck with traditional Mega Man-like gameplay, but now you can use your CP earned from playing the game as you play throughout the missions. While Mega Man had you select different stages based on the bosses, this game had you just select the different stages. Don't let the bad reviews of Mighty No. 9 and the inclusion of its character in this game keep you from picking this one up. It is truly a blast. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is an enhanced port of the original Wii U game with the same name, but now on the Nintendo Switch. This version of the game upgrades the visuals from 720p to 1080p when docked, while including all the DLC content from the original game, both new characters and racetracks. Best of all, additional characters and cars have been added like the Inklings from Splatoon, and a revamped battle mode that's more like traditional battle modes rather than the mess you got in the original Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U. If you enjoy Mario Kart, this is simply a must-have or a great entry point for newcomers of the series. Plus, it's the best portable Mario Kart on the market right now. Little Inferno was one of my favorite games on the Wii U, and now it's also on the Nintendo Switch. While I personally don't think the Switch has the best motion controls, Little Inferno doesn't need the most precise controls to play well, and so that's why I'm recommending it. It can be best described as a light everything on fire simulator with a cute and heartwarming story, no pun intended. Light different combinations of objects on fire to earn combo points and create funny puns along the way. I want to give a shout out to the World of Goo as well from the same developer. This one also requires motion controls, but I'd say it requires more precise controls. Still one of the best puzzle games on the system though, and worth taking a look at. The Binding of Isaac is one of the best indie games to ever come out in terms of video games, and now it's portable on the Nintendo Switch. With randomized dungeons and gameplay similar to the original Legend of Zelda NES games, The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus is a ton of fun. This version of the game is the most inline version with the PC release, and while it's missing a bunch of PC stuff like mod support, there's so many power-ups, playable characters, and content in this console version that makes it the definitive one in terms of consoles. I guess technically also portables too. If you're able to find a physical copy, it has some pretty cool stickers and an instructional manual too, themed like old NES games. A shout out to Cave Story Plus as well, which comes from the same developers of Binding of Isaac and is also another well-known indie game at this point. It might be a tough pill to swallow at $30 if you already own the game, same can be said about Binding of Isaac, but Cave Story is a gem of an indie game that's about 10 years old at this point. Play as a nameless protagonist who wakes up in a cave as they try to solve platforming puzzles and progress through the caves of this floating island. Shovel Knight Treasure Trove is a collection or the most complete edition of Shovel Knight that includes the original game and 3 additional campaigns on top of it. The package includes the original Shovel Knight game that's basically a modern retro themed NES game that combines gameplay from a bunch of different classics like DuckTales, The Legend of Zelda 2, and some Castlevania. The other pieces of content are the Plague of Shadows and Spectre of Torment DLC stories, each with their own characters. There's even an additional King's Knight story and all new battle mode coming soon, which will be free if you buy the collection right now. Fast RMX is a fast-paced futuristic themed racer similar to the Wipeout and F-Zero series, racing these super fast-paced vehicles across multiple types of terrains. Throughout each track are different colored boost pads that you'll have to coordinate your vehicle to in order to receive a speed boost. There's even online multiplayer if you want to put your skills to the test too. If you've always wanted Nintendo to make a brand new F-Zero game, this is pretty much the closest you'll get to on the Switch at the moment. It's also one of the better looking games on the system too. ARMS is Nintendo's newest IP on the Nintendo Switch and an interesting take on the fighting game genre. Play as these fighters with super elongated arms as you punch your way to the top of the Grand Prix. The online play is some of the best in the recent Nintendo game, and there's surprisingly a fun metagame in here too with different combinations of arms. Many were quick to judge that this game didn't really have much skill to it, but I think the recent Mr. Yabuki fight at E3 really proves everyone that was saying that wrong. Shantae Half Genie Hero is the last game on my list, and it's one of the best ones too. While it may not be an enhanced port of any kind, it's still a very fun port that you can play on the go now. For those of you new to Shantae, gameplay is very Metroidvania-like, where you're playing a side-scrolling game and trying to upgrade your character's powers to further progress the story. However, instead of being one single open world, Shantae breaks up into individual levels, unlike most Metroidvania games. As you play through the game, you'll unlock new powers for her that let her transform into different creatures, letting her solve new puzzles. Definitely a game worth diving into if you skipped it on other platforms. And those are my must-have Nintendo Switch games as of June 27th, 2017. I'm sure I'll update this with new entries as we go on through the year in the life cycle of the system with brand new games, but for now those are my must-have games. If you have any other recommendations though, I welcome them and please leave them in the comment section down below. If you missed the last video, I announced that I actually will be at Anime Expo, D23, and San Diego Comic-Con this year, so if you're at any of those cons and you see me, feel free to say hi or ask for a picture or just, wave hello from a distance, and I'll be sure to say hi back. As always, thank you all very much for watching, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one.